But we'd like to share with you some of the why to give. And here's just one story of an individual that's a part of our community that's going to be interviewed by Reverend Dwayne to share his testimony. Prophet Curtis Savoy, come on up.
Welcome, Prophet Curtis Savoy. Come on up. One of the reasons that I support MCCDC with my finances as well as my long-term will is that we're a congregation that really helps to build people and to help people grow. And this season we're especially focusing on how MCCDC helps people and helps us to grow in sacred pride. So a question for you, how has MCCDC helped you to grow in sacred pride?
Well, that's a good question in the context of sacred pride, it being Pride Tide. As I know in my mind and heart, gay pride, capital pride, and in each and every metropolitan community church across the world, it is a time in which we remind ourselves that Stonewall happened, and that since then, in terms of the 1960s, the year 1968, that's when the Reverend Elder Tory Perry, they met in a house, and since there, MCC became what it is. And since then, even here in Washington, D.C., in this community where MCCDC sits, it was during the 1970s that the first Capital Pride Festival was actually celebrated. And so MCCDC has provided for me, and I'm sure many people can say, a safe space to get in touch with whose we are, who we are, whose I am, and what that means in terms of sacred pride. So as an African American, openly homosexual gay man, I'm mindful of whose I am. And being in community with one another, that is a blessing that I don't take for granted. I am always grateful to be back home here at MCCDC. So it is very appropriate for sacred pride. It's just one of the ways that it just helps us to affirm who we are as LGBT people of the Christian faith.
I love that. That's so powerful. And one of the things we believe is that God is not out there somewhere just watching and saying, aren't they all cute down there? God is right here. And I love how you're describing how God is helping you to grow in that sacred pride and how it's so rooted to those who have gone before us. And when we were founded on October 6, 1968, pre-Stonewall in that little pink house in West Hollywood, God showed up. God showed up, and God is part of what's brought us here. And I am so grateful for your testimony today, and my prayer is that God will continue to show up in your life and that we'll share that together. So thank you so much. Thank you for the difference that you're making in so many lives through your generosity.